This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
What the hell is going on? Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
I'm pretty sure that a swimming pool with no sides is called the sea. It's called the sea, you idiot. You'd think that somebody from South Africa would know that, being as how it's surrounded by them. Following the news that Britain has recorded its hottest spring on record, climate scientists have called for immediate action to tackle global warming. And politicians all over the world immediately did nothing. According to the Met Office, which has been recording temperature data since 1884, spring this year was officially the warmest and sunniest on record as in ever. The 3 months running from March to May marked an unprecedented season of warmth and sunshine, it said. However, Alex Hutchings, the World Wildlife Fund's chief climate advisor, says the record confirms that climate change is here and now and needs immediate action straight away. And straight away, those we have chosen to take care of our long-term interests relaxed into inaction, in case it offended the sensibilities of newspaper owners who have investments in the fossil fuel industry. Scientists point to the fact that 8 out of the 10 warmest UK springs on record have occurred since the year 2000, while the 3 warmest springs have all occurred in the last decade. This year, last year, and 2017. Are you seeing a trend?
No.
Professor Richard Allen, he is the Professor of Climate Scientists at the University of Reading, said the UK is heating up along with the rest of the planet. He said although the fickle nature of weather patterns means there can be large variations in temperature and rainfall from one year to the next, the warming trend over more than a century is clear evidence that the UK is heating up along with the rest of the planet. He said a warmer world brings with it a greater severity of hot, dry and wet weather extremes, as well as wilder swings between then and now, and a slow, inexorable rise in sea levels. Some of that made sense. The only way to limit global warming and damaging impacts on people is through collaboration across all sectors of society to cut heat-trapping greenhouse gases. But that's what he said. But as he is an expert in possession of facts, no one was remotely interested in anything he had to say.
Correct.
The unusual warmth has been limited has not been limited to land, as waters around the UK have experienced a marine heat wave as much as 4 degrees centigrade warmer than usual. And this summer could easily beat 2018 to become the UK's hottest summer on record, bringing heat waves and droughts. But, that's the climate. What about the weather? Well, Brits are warned of unseasonably windy conditions this weekend and heavy, frequent showers on Sunday with hail, thunder, lightning. Very, very frightening. There could also be a risk of surface water flooding, which could lead to challenging driving conditions.
Oh, no.
Road traffic organisations have advised that if you take care to turn on your fog lights in the daytime, turn your stereo up to rock concert volume and black your windows out and set your seat so you're virtually horizontal and can barely see over the steering wheel, that will make you look cool. Of course, if you were in a Vauxhall hatchback, you will already be doing this.
Thank you.
Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Wet on Saturday, drier on Sunday, and then middle 2 weeks of the month. At first, changeable, with showers or longer spells of rain. The heaviest and the most prolonged rain will probably be across parts of the north and the northwest. Yeah, probably. I mean, would you like me to check on that? It sounds right, but you never know. I can check on that while you wait. One moment, please, caller. Your call is important to us. We are experiencing a higher than normal level of calls, which you might think would make us put on extra staff to answer your blooming call if it was so blooming important, but apparently that's beyond our abilities. Glasgow, it's raining right now. I know you're going to call me and say that it isn't, but by the time you get through, it will be. Saturday, it will be raining. It will be raining on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and it will be raining on Wednesday and raining on Thursday and raining on Friday and raining on Saturday. Then, on Sunday and Monday, the 15th and the 16th... Oh, what? Not raining? Pfft, rubbish. It will be raining on Tuesday the 17th and the following Wednesday, and every day for the rest of your lives. That's Glasgow. For the rest of us, the last week of June, the first week of July. First week of July. Oh, my God, it's slipping through our fingers. I can't believe it's happening so fast. It's just around the corner to be Jesus' birthday. Last week of June, first week of July. Mid-June, a good deal of dry weather across the UK. At the start of July, conditions may become more changeable, but overall temperatures will probably be slightly higher than normal, perhaps turning hot at times. Temperatures will be slightly higher than normal, perhaps turning hot at times. We'll take it. Quentin in Nottinghamshire says, Nick, what are the chances that Trump will revoke Musk's US citizenship and send him back to South Africa? Yeah, as long as his money stays where it is. He can go anywhere he likes. Have we got to the point of my Trump bingo card where he puts Elon Musk in jail and takes all of his money? Because that's on here. I mean, pretty much everything else has come true so far. There's a couple that haven't, but they will. Have the army or the police or whoever shoot into crowds of protesters. That has almost happened. Not quite. But it wasn't the army or the police. It was these masked vigilantes, which are supposedly government operatives, but we're not allowed to know who they are. So they show up without a uniform, in masks, and appear at unmarked vans, and essentially kidnap people in the street, saying that they're doing the job of America. He's going to have a military parade in his honour. That's coming true. He's going to appear on stage in military uniform. Well, not yet. He will arrest judges and journalists, yes, in that order. Close down news sites that tell the truth about him. He's in the process of doing that. He'll arrest comedians who mock him. Well, not yet. He's going to sue them first and arrest them second. Or maybe the other way around. Don't really make... No, never mind. He's going to put the fear of... I was going to say God, but it's the opposite of that, isn't it? He's going to put the fear of the devil in whoever it is says nasty things about him. He's going to close down TV outlets and shut at least one newspaper. Fire professors who teach the truth. Enrich individuals and companies that give him money. Well, that goes without saying. Unless they're very, very mean to him, and then he'll start flailing around like a toddler, having a tantrum. He's going to show executions on national media. Who's it going to be? Place your bets. He'll stay in office after the full term, of course. Won't be able to drag him out. He'll have portraits of himself posted in all school and government buildings. And I think that is actually happening now, isn't it? They have to, by law, put a portrait of the dear leader in all school and government buildings. And I think in schools as well, they have they are being forced to put up the 10 Commandments, just so that the kids can tick off each one as Donald Trump breaks them. Too late, kids. He's already got a full house. He'll have an airport named after him. He'll quite possibly have his face chiseled into Mount Rushmore. Is there enough stone? He'll bring a plane down carrying an enemy over America. Now, I don't mean bring a plane down although that's possible. I mean, he will force it to land if somebody who has been very mean to him is flying over America to somewhere else. And he will institute a state of emergency come the next election cycle so that they won't have to have one. All of that. But at the moment, he's got, bigger fish to fry because somebody is being very nasty. Very nasty. And the person who's being very nasty has got a lot of money. Huge amounts. And Donald Trump wants that money. And the money is slipping through his fingers. So, I don't know. I can get into that at length. But let's see what this is like. Brighton. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Nick. It's been a while. And everything you said is coming true. Mm-hmm. So you're well on it, and you still deserve your Radio Award, which I keep on hoping Global will give you one.
There's no such thing. No such thing as a Radio Award.
Well, the ones you get for every year they do a industry thing and they award some program or some
Do they?
presenter.
Do they? I thought all that had stopped.
No, they're still doing it.
Right.
Nigel Farage won the last one not that long ago. But okay, let's get down to it.
If anybody has put my name on that award, I want you to chisel it off straight away.
Okay, the reason why I'm calling, I think it's the end for reform now. Because when Sia Yusuf was in there, the party looked like a broad church. And
it did? A broad church?
Well, yeah, you could say, look, we've got Sia Yusuf. He comes from as they were saying, like he comes from a family what came to England and he's done well. And already...
Please,
Nick,
Joe, don't kid yourself. Sia Yusuf was an ex-banker. That's that's his background. It's the colour of his skin and where his family originally came from. Never mind. He's a rich banker.
Oh, yeah, there's a point there. Can I just say something to you what I heard Nigel Farage trying to say yesterday, right? Every day we've got these callers coming on saying that reform will do well because they're businessmen. Nigel Farage confessed on GB News yesterday saying, due to it being not like a business, Sia Yusuf and other entrepreneurs get frustrated when they get involved with politics. And then Elon Musk's father confirmed that today, saying Elon Musk is...
Well, you'd have to be some kind of ocean-going chump to think that politics is like a business. I hear that so often. Oh, we must have business people who are in political positions in order to run the country like a business. Country's not like a business. It bears no relation to a business. A business is run by just one person in a dictatorial fashion for the advancement of the interests of that person. The only countries that are run like that are, well, you could say America at the moment.
Oh, shut up!
And various other tin pot dictatorships that are dotted about the world. It's not a business. It's more like a charity, actually. But okay, good work. Thanks a lot, Joe. Gary in Anglesey says, well, Elon has gone nuclear, or as George W. Used to say, nuclear. It's extraordinary that George W. Bush is now, he looks like a world-class statesman compared to what's going on at the moment.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. George W. used to say nuclear. Says, let's start again, then it'll make more sense. Gary in Anglesey says, well, Elon has gone nuclear by mentioning the Epstein files. The bromance between Bungle and Zippy is well and truly dead, and the American, as is the American dream. There is no evidence that the American dream is dead.
The American dream is dead.
He said, your prediction on their separation was bang on. Any thoughts as to what's next? I'm not sure whether to believe what Angry Spice says. Angry Spice, that was mine. All my own work. Angry Spice, yeah. What's going to happen next? Well, either they make up big time and Elon crawls across the carpet and kisses the orange toes, or Donald Trump. I bet it's occurred to Donald Trump more than once. I bet he's asked his people about the possibility of putting Elon Musk in jail and taking all of his money. I betcha that he is looking into that very strongly and with great strength. 0345 6060 973. There's so many people to laugh at. I barely can figure out where to start. It's been a delicious week.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
You know, some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it?
Tariq in Chertsey says, we keep hearing that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are playing 4D chess. I think it's more like Jenga now. No, it's nothing to do with Jenga. It's more like Buckaroo. Two asses going at it. I mean, talk about richly comic. This is the Mail. I've changed this almost not at all. The public feud that unfolded last night between Donald Trump and Elon Musk closely resembles a dispute between two children in the playground. For the first term, they were inseparable. Donald invited Elon to play in his castle with all his classmates, and together they ruled the yard. But after a while, Donald decided he didn't want Elon to stay, and last week he asked him to leave the castle and hang out with other people for a while. Elon sulked all weekend, and then he came back and he told the whole school how stupid Donald and his friends were. He also claimed that the only reason Donald got into the castle instead of that older kid in the first place was because of him. And before long, they were both hurling nasty insults and accusing one another of being naughty. Elon agreed with one pupil who said that Donald should be kicked out of his castle. Unfortunately, the two participants in this argument are grown men. One's the leader of the free world and the other is the world's richest man. I think the human race has taken a wrong turn somewhere. I think we need to be replaced with robots.
Affirmative.
Like straight away, if not sooner. They wrote their insults on separate social media platforms that they own. And one of the statements made amid the war of words alleged that the President of the United States was covering up his links to a convicted paedophile and sex offender. What? Yeah. The public feud was seemingly initiated by Musk just days after he departed Doge, taking aim at the GOP's One Big Beautiful Bill. Grand old parties, the Republicans. It's a tax and spend bill tabled by the Republicans that will also increase the government's debt by the It will also increase the government's debt by the not inconsequential amount of $3 trillion, which is a number that's hard to fathom. $1 trillion. But I'll give it to you in seconds. 1 million seconds is about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is about 31 years. 1 trillion seconds is 31,688 years. So, you know, it's a lot. The controversial bill was passed by the House of Representatives last month and is now being scrutinised in the Senate. And on Tuesday, Musk posted on his social media platform that the bill was an abomination and went on to urge senators to kill the bill. He said this spending bill contains the largest increase in the debt ceiling in U.S. history. It's the debt slavery bill, he wrote. Call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. That's what he wrote, Elon Musk. Which was very mean. I'm only trying to take money from poor children and give it to my rich friends. By which I mean me. Musk also declared that the planned additional spending and the debt ceiling hike included in the bill more than defeats all the cost savings achieved by the Doge team. Yeah, and that's because there weren't any savings. That was all phony. I mean, he trumpeted that he would save the government $2 trillion in waste. He said it would be easy. I'll just go in and do it. And then it went down to about 1% of that. And even that claim is riddled with supposed saving on contracts that were terminated during Biden's time in office. And loads of other dodgy accounting, making it not much. Making not much seem like something. And, of course, the effect of Musk's army of teenage nerds smashing up government departments is going to be felt for a generation. Hundreds of thousands of good people who worked for the American public fired. Cancer research cancelled. Weather services gutted. Now being run by a man who didn't even know that America has a hurricane season. I mean, the list goes on. It's like Mr. Blobby barged through your company and fired every person he collided with. It was about that considered and surgical. And what's coincidental is that Elon Musk managed to gut every organisation of the government that oversaw or regulated his own businesses. Coincidence. So they're at least as bad as each other. And choosing sides in this fight is like picking which poison you'd like to die from. Two White House officials familiar with the matter told Reuters that Trump expressed confusion and frustration about Musk's attacks on his sweeping tax and spending bill. But Trump held back, the officials said, because he wanted to preserve Musk's political and financial support ahead of the midterm elections. I like money. But by Thursday, Trump began a public squabble that made Tiny Tot's nursery seem mature. Sitting next to the German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, in the Oval Office, Trump told reporters he was very disappointed in his former advisor's criticism of the bill. Trump also said to the German Chancellor, I mean, they were talking about VE Day. the day of celebration of defeat of the Nazis. He said the VE Day, Trump said, must be a very sad day for him, the German Chancellor, because Germany lost. Can you imagine anybody being so removed from reality that they think that modern-day Germany is upset to have lost the war by having the Nazis defeated? I mean, all Trump can process is that they lost, so that must make them upset. And he said that to the present German Chancellor on camera. Donald Trump is not a nice person. Plus, he appears to be an idiot.
Don't be rude.
I'm very disappointed with Elon, he said. I've helped them a lot. He knew the inner workings of the bill better than anybody sitting here. He had no problem with it, he said. And Musk quickly hit back on his social media saying, false. This bill was never shown to me even once and was passed in the dead of night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. And Musk then vented his anger directly at Trump, saying his tariffs will cause a recession in the second half of the year, and accused Donald Trump of lying. Donald Trump of lying? I very much doubt that.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Actually, he said that it would. Wait. No, I've run ahead of myself. So, Musk vented his anger directly at Trump, saying his tariffs will cause a recession. He also said that it was very unfair that the legislation would eliminate tax incentives for electric vehicles. That's what Trump. That's actually what the Mail is saying. But actually, Elon Musk didn't say that. He said it was unfair that there would still be tax incentives for the production of fossil fuel, not electric cars, which is unfair, said Elon Musk, which it is. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I agree with Elon Musk. And I'm not even on drugs.
What?
Trump posted again on Truth Social saying Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate, electronic vehicle mandate, that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted. And he just went crazy. Crazy in capital letters. And Musk retorted on X, such an obvious lie, so sad. And within minutes, he went on to say that it might be time to create a new political party and shared a poll to his followers asking for their opinion. And with each post, the spat became ever more virulent until Musk dropped a new allegation which could one day prove to be the catalyst leading to the downfall of one, if not both participants. He said, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they haven't been made public. Have a nice day, DJT! Exclamation mark. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. I very much doubt it. Because Trump said that he was going to release the Epstein files in the run-up to November's election, and as soon as he became president, he said, well, I don't know, maybe not. Epstein died by suicide, so they say. There's widespread speculation he may have been murdered. And before he was elected, Trump said he would have no problem releasing files related to Epstein, but, since he could do it, he hasn't. And following the allegation, Musk endorsed a post on X from a right-wing activist calling for Trump's impeachment. Again? Trump retorted on Truth Social by threatening to cut off Elon's companies from various lucrative government contracts. He says the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts, said Trump. Which is also true. That's correct too. Why does the world's richest man need government subsidies to run his businesses, for crying out loud? Musk fired back that he'll begin decommissioning his Dragon spacecraft in response, and it's the only thing that can get astronauts to and from the International Space Station. Which seems a bizarre place to be, that they've given over that ability to a man who's running a company for profit. You'd think that a government would have a hand in it, but apparently they've given it up, didn't need it. The ability to put astronauts on and off that ship. And by this morning, it appeared that the spat was over somewhat, and they were both sent to their rooms to think about what they'd done. Who could have seen that coming? Apart from absolutely everyone on Earth.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Well, the whole world's gone crazy.
Yes, the old bag is right. Tavistock. Hello, Rose.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, Rose.
Sorry, the way you say it made me laugh. Well, I'll launch in. I had a message from my friend in Iowa on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And she said about this lady called Joni Ernst, described by my friend as one of our despicable senators, who, in a town hall meeting in response to a question about this the Medicaid cuts in this great big bill,
yes,
killing people, said, we all have to die. And then the next day, she tried to remedy it all by telling people that if they wanted eternal life, they should follow the teachings of my Saviour, Jesus Christ.
Oh.
So, if you actually, if you want life more than 10, 30, 40 years on Earth, regardless of eternal life, no, that's not if you're poor.
No.
I mean, these are extraordinary people. Christian nationalism, she says, is rampant and scary. Nick.
Yes, it is scary. Yeah, it's not. Well, it's the. And what she said was not quite what you said. She said it's not we all have to die, which has a certain ring to it. It's we're all going to die, as in why even bother helping sick children if they're going to die anyway? Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought it implied, but yes, I slightly misquoted here.
Yeah, I think it's worse the way she said it rather than the way you misremembered it.
Oh, yes, I think you might be right there. Yeah. We're all going to die.
Going to die.
So what
not
the hell
have to die.
Thing.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're well off.
I don't think any amount of money actually excuses you the death part.
Oh, no, but I mean, the point she's making is that you might as well die at 10 or 20 or 30 if you're going to die in the end anyway.
Yeah, I think the point that she was making was there's no point in helping people through their illnesses because they're going to die anyway.
Yeah. Yes.
I know, and it's the same with that woman, Angry Spice, who excuses Donald Trump on a daily basis from a lectern at the White House, and wearing a cross around her neck that seems to get bigger with every week that goes by. It seems to expand or retract.
Contract, yes.
Depending on how many lies she's telling at the moment. And the more lies, the bigger the cross, as though God is going to be fooled by that.
Oh, God, does she? You see, I don't see it. I don't see any. Oh, thank God, I don't see any of these.
Well, you want to get the internet, Rose. No end of things on there.
Funnily enough, this is 2 or 3 weeks ago now on your show. You were talking a bit about this whole. You see, I actually find, although I'm not a Christian, I'm not a faith person, I actually find it obscene, that this religion is taken in vain in this way. When, as you've often described, it means completely the opposite of everything they stand for. They
use it as a weapon. They hide behind the cross and use their religion as a weapon, which is probably not. I mean, I'm no expert, but I'm guessing it's not what Jesus had in mind.
Well, that's right. And I was just thinking to myself, I think real Christians should rise up and protest. And then a few minutes later, a very nice lady called Grace rang your show, which she hasn't done before, and sort of a Christian, and very sensibly went into it. Wasn't that funny?
Yes, I think what the world needs more of is wars based on religion, Rose. Is that what you're proposing?
Oh, Nick, why do you do these things to me, really?
Rise up and fight. Come on. Why can't people just get along?
Yes, well, I was sort of tongue-in-cheek slightly, but, it's a... Now, what was I going to say here? Yes, just, if I may, a slight comments on what you were talking about before the news. I just felt competition is all Trump can see, and running the world for these two is just a self-indulgent game. That's all it is.
With a very important goal in mind, which is increasing their own wealth and power.
Yes. And when you said, somewhere we took the wrong turning, we humans, I think what it was, if you could sort of boil it down to this, is that we started choosing to run our countries persons without conscience.
We
seem to have no instinct of... Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, that's our fault. Pretty much everything that ails the world is our fault. I mean, we could check what they say for veracity, but we choose not to. We just pick a side and then believe everything that side says. And it seems like the more hate-filled, then the more people are prepared to believe it. It's, we haven't really advanced much beyond the stage of, I was going to say apes, but I think that apes behave in a better way than we do. It's all downhill from here, Rose. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. All right.
I think we've turned around and gone the other way. I think we're going backwards, a sort of de-evolution, as it were.
Yeah, the human race has definitely peaked, and it's all downhill from here, yeah.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
Thanks a lot, Rose. 0345 6060 973. I think the human race peaked in, shall we say 1972? 1972, with the release of, The Smoker You Drink, The Player You Get, by Joe Walsh.
Rock and roll!
I think that was the peak of the human race. Dark Side of the Moon in there as well. Ewan in Reading says, I was thinking about your Trump bingo card earlier, and I realised I couldn't remember anything that Tangerine Scream hadn't already done. So I thought I'd give you my own. Elon Musk will be back in the White House before the end of Trump's second term at least once. Well, this is his second term. Do you mean the one after this? Because there will be. Or this one here. Well, we'll find out, I suppose. Let's see now. Bath. Hello, John.
Hey.
John.
You called it, earlier on. Musk said that he won the election for him.
Yeah.
He said it the other day. He
That's
said,
right. He wouldn't
I won it.
He wouldn't be where he is. Trump wouldn't be where he is if it weren't for me.
So, there's proof positive. And where Trump's concerned, I'm just wondering...
Hang on a minute. There's proof positive of what?
That he rigged it.
Oh, well, not necessarily. I'm sure that Elon Musk was referring to the amount of money that he spent. Not that his knowledge of vote counting machines had anything to do with the result, as reported.
He knows a lot about machines.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Nobody knows more about vote counting machines than he does, said Donald Trump of Elon Musk. What did he mean about that?
That's the point. I'm still discombobulated about that. But also, I don't know. If you look back in Donald Trump's back story, has he had a massive head injury at any point?
Donald Trump? Only emotionally.
Because some of the things he comes up with, you were just talking about it just now. Some of the things he says, like he said to the German chancellor.
Yeah. I mean, that was unreal.
That's got to be a head injury, isn't it?
Well, I don't. That's just absolutely extraordinary. I mean, to be that out of touch with reality that you would even think to come out with that is just incredible. I mean, it does suggest that he isn't actually running the country. He just plays golf. He was the useful idiot that managed to get all those psycho tech bros in a position of power that they could themselves take over the world. And I would imagine that the money behind him, all those tech titans, thought that they could just get rid of him, get rid of Donald Trump when he had served their purposes. But they don't know him very well. And the big orange gorilla he's not moving.
Ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's sitting in the middle of the pen, and that's where he's going to stay.
But also, this fight that's opened up between him and Elon Musk, it was so predictable.
Of
you
course.
called that as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Anybody could have seen that coming a mile off.
What on earth is, and they're not attacking each other now. I'm not quite sure which one is going to blink first, but I kind of think that Elon should probably stay off going into space right now.
Well, it shouldn't walk past any open windows above the first floor or any of that. And, when it comes down to it, it's always the person with the hot line to the army who is going to win, regardless of how much money you've got. Just look at Vladimir Putin. When anybody gets a bit too uppity, he puts them in some Siberian gulag and takes all their money.
But, Nick, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and I just said, I'm sure Donald Trump at some point is going to try to take Elon Musk's assets.
I've been saying that for ages.
It's like common sense, isn't it?
I bet Donald Trump is thinking that every single second that he's around Elon Musk. Apart from the moment where he's thinking, did his kid just wipe a bogey on my desk? apart from then, yeah.
Indeed.
All right, good work. Thanks a lot, John. 0345 6060 973. And by the way, yes, he did. Sandra in Birmingham says, Nick Abbott has correctly predicted Trump's actions. Nick Abbott is a witch. Let's burn him. Well, that's just good thinking, Sandra. Somebody should get onto that straight away. And this says, Nick, do you think Americans are now thinking, I don't recognise this country anymore? We're being run by a petulant child. I think that the half of America that hasn't joined a cult think that. The other half that have joined a cult would probably not let such a thought flit across the vacant, echoing plateaus of their mind. And this says, the big, beautiful bust up his box office. Love watching Elon screaming insults at Trump. Who'd have thought he could be so relatable? Elon Musk, relatable. No, not really.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
0345 6060 973. Brian in Tottenham says, Nick, were you at the Spurs Stadium last night for Beyonce's first Cowboy Carter show? Well, let me think about that for a moment.
No.
Absolutely. No. How much do tickets cost to go to that? Too blooming much, I bet. Precisely that. Exactly to the penny. No, I've given up going to gigs. They're just too... I cannot get past if it's a three-figure sum. I just can't do it. And I bet it's three-figure sums to go and see Bouncy, which, I'm all for that album. That's a great album, certainly is. But, no, stand in the rain to pay 100-odd quid to go and see Beyonce lip-sync from 3 miles away. No, thanks. I'm not suggesting that she was lip-syncing, but, it would probably look that way because you'd be looking at a screen which would be out of sync with the sound. No, everything about a big gig like that's terrible. Dan in Blackpool says, how long do you think it'll be before Elon is broke and in jail? Now Donnie and Elon don't love each other anymore. Who do you think that Nigel will be? Who will Nigel be in love with? Well, that's going to cause some noise in the brains of MAGA fans everywhere, because you're supposed to love both of them. They'll be thinking, well, which daddy do I like? They'll be looking left and right between the two of them like they're at a tennis match. North Carolina. Hello, Graham.
No, actually, it's Atlanta tonight.
Ah, can you call us when you get to North Carolina?
Say again?
Never mind.
I just thought, I've been always thinking this, that Trump is absolutely...
out of his mind.
Taking the blimp out of everybody. Yep. And I won't use the word that I'm not supposed to use, even though I'm older.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for restraining yourself.
And also, the amount of space that he is in your head without paying rent is astonishing.
I know. This is a common insult by people on the right who can't stand their dear leader being spoken of in vain. I know.
I don't care what happens.
Upset.
I'm sure he doesn't care.
Graham, you called me from 4,500 miles away to tell me that, and then say that you don't care. Yeah, only one of the above can possibly be true. Either you do care and you called, or you don't care.
I want to find out about how messed up English culture is, because it's very attached to me. My parents are British, so that's here to there. But at the same time, I just don't know why why you got to talk about it so much.
You don't know why I have to talk about the world's most powerful man, the man
You
who
don't
is...
have to. You want to. That's the thing. That's your shtick, as they say.
And you don't know why I do that.
No, I know why you do it, because you're in show business. That's why you do it.
I do it because it's news, Graham.
It's what?
News.
News, yeah. It's old news.
No, it's not old news.
Like
It's current news. Look, I understand that it's upsetting when somebody disses the cult leader, Graham, but you'll get over it. Just concentrate on all of the good things that Donald Trump has brought into your life. And as soon as you come up with one, let me know. Dan in Blackpool says, I can't keep up. Have Elon and Donnie split up? Can that woman leave nothing alone? They were happily in love and along comes Meghan to destroy a perfectly loving partnership. That woman has done something great. How long? That woman has done something great. How long do you think it'll take for poor little Elon to be skinned in jail? One for your list. Trump will have Elon arrested by next Friday. Well, I'm not ruling that out. I mean, I said that would happen, kind of, joking, but at the moment, because, Donald Trump, he just absolutely loves the power that Vladimir Putin has to put anybody that disrespects him in jail or in a coffin. And he wants that kind of power. Whether he actually can wield that kind of power or not at the moment, well, I don't know. I mean, he keeps hinting at it, doesn't he? For as long as he has been in our orbit, he's been telling us how he can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. I mean, that thought doesn't come from nowhere. Who would think that? I mean, you could think all sorts of things that wouldn't lose you a vote, but he went straight to shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, which I think is pretty telling. He would love to be able to do that and no one could say a word and it would never come back to bite him. But, and at some point, I'm pretty sure that he's going to try it. At some point, he's going to have his people shoot into crowds of protesters. Hands up anybody who doesn't believe that's going to happen. Exactly. Overwhelming. Jimmy in Accrington says, I listened to last Saturday's show on Catch Up and heard you slagging off monkeys for the better part of 3... I did. Yeah, I was slagging off monkeys for the better part of 3 hours. Aren't you forgetting that a monkey played Robbie Williams in a film last year? Did he? Or he, or she, or it? Pretty darn impressive if you ask me, he says. By the way, you couldn't pay me to watch that film. Yeah, no, nor me either. Okay, message coming in from next door. It was a CGI monkey. Yeah, well, no doubt. It was a CGI monkey pretending to be Robbie Williams for a film. Wow, I can't wait not to see that. You lost me at Robbie Williams. Let's have... who's been waiting the longest? Chesham. Hello, Victor.
Hi there, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I wanted to ask you about the feasibility of a Trump third term. You seem quite convinced that we're destined for one, and I do think your concerns are justified. Mm-hmm. But personally, I have faith in the checks and balances that are in place, like the infrastructure designed to prevent such a thing. So
you do? But yeah. Based on what?
Well, so 22nd Amendment, first of all, limiting to 2 consecutive terms.
Oh, a rule. Right, a rule. Well, okay, well, he's never done anything against any rule.
No, I agree. It is a risk, but you've got the judicial branch, obviously, separation of powers, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Should be able to strike it down as unconstitutional. Of course, there's the argument with the whole Republican...
But they keep saying that things he does again. They keep saying that things he does are unconstitutional and they rule against them, and he goes ahead and does them anyway.
No, I agree, but do you not think this would be the most blatant, brash kind of ripping up of the Constitution that could possibly be? I mean, when you look at the Founding Fathers, it's exactly what they tried to prevent. So it's almost like the entire state of democracy was obviously at risk, but it would even more so be at risk then. That it would almost provoke... I just can't... Here's
how he'll do it. I mean, unless he can just do it and no one is going to say boo to him, and they will do it in order to save America, and we must do it, and, go on a rant like that. at the very least, he will just say, well, I've called a state of emergency because of this or that, and it could be something he just made up, or he might have actually started a war with, let's say, Iran.
Yes.
That'd be my guess. Yeah,
you made that point earlier.
He will bring up a state of emergency, and the elections will be cancelled, and because of the overwhelming support of the American people, 100% of whom have expressed their deep support and love for the leader, then he'll carry on endlessly.
I agree with you. That was a point you raised earlier, and I thought that was actually quite an astute point, because I've never really thought of that, and it's probably, I could see him doing that. But if that doesn't happen, do you think we could rely on the checks and balances to kind of uphold democracy?
No,
you don't think so?
Absolutely not. No, they're all based on the decency and the decency of the person in charge and their capacity to experience shame. If you can't experience,
separation of powers for, then?
Well, there is no separation of powers. The people who are occupying the Supreme Court were put there by him.
Well,
I mean, that's the nature. Yeah, that's the nature of their
impartiality. And upholding the Constitution. They swear an oath to upholding the Constitution and impartiality.
Well, obviously they're not impartial because they keep making partial decisions.
Yes, I see. I mean, what would be the point of a politician appointing a Supreme Court judge for life if they were truly impartial? They're not. No, it's a fair point. But then that's why you have a balance and a mix. I don't agree with it. I agree with you. I think it could definitely be arranged in a more democratically focused way, such as we have in the UK. But yeah, I guess I'm a little bit. I'm optimistic. I do think there's a threat, but I am optimistic. Maybe I'm misplaced now.
Well, we'll find out when we get there, I suppose. But I see no reason for optimism at this moment. But it's nice that you have it.
Yeah, I'm one of the few. I tell you that. I'm one of the few. I try to keep it optimistic.
Cling on to it and don't let it go, Victor. Excellent work. Thanks, that man. 0345 6060 973. No, he will absolutely, towards the end of his term, if not well before, he will cause some state of emergency. America will be at war with someone. I'm guessing Iran. It could be us at this point. We've absolutely no idea what's going to happen next, and neither does he. Just whatever thought flits across his mind and comes out of his mouth, that's policy. And he will continue to be president until he hands it down to one of his idiot sons. Betcha. Betcha, betcha, betcha. Not Uday or Kusa. He'll hand it over to Lurch. You know, the one that has the air of Damien about him. That one. I mean, the other two are just like the comedy characters in a serious novel. They're the comic relief. But Lurch, he's got that sort of sense of darkness about him, like he should be wearing a long black leather cape, something like that. This text says, Nick, you warned me not to go to America on business. He's already cost me £11,000 in tariffs. Do you think he'll arrest me at the border from Canada? As we are a Canadian business, I'm scared. Well, I was taking around a story about this woman who went from Australia to America, and I think she was on holiday. She was touring around the world, and she misfilled in one of the things that she has to fill in for American customs, and the rest of that story is pretty awful. You know, they put her in solitary confinement and keep her for days and don't let her out and don't let her contact her loved ones to let them know where she is, and they put her on a plane and then send her straight back to where she just come from. You couldn't pay me to go. If I won a holiday to America, I'd ask if there was a cash alternative. 0345 6060 973. Craig says, if it's not already on your bingo card, Trump will have his face on banknotes. Yeah, I think it is on my... but there was extra ones beyond which I stopped reading. Degenerate art will get thrown out of galleries. I think he's already doing that. The government will insist on all new buildings being built in classical Roman style. He'll name an airport after himself. He'll get his face on money. Yeah, I've got that one. And they're shooting into crowds of protesters. That'll be the thing that kicks this all off. Because there will be protests about him having his people shoot into crowds of protesters. And those protesters are going to have to be put down in no uncertain terms. And beyond that, well, all bets are off. 0345 6060 973. What a way to run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk.
This text says, Nick, apparently Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' Putin offered to mediate between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Yeah, I don't think that happened. I think that was a joke on social media. I don't think Vladimir Putin did anything of the sort. Vladimir Putin is too busy complaining about Ukraine fighting back.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Dan in Sanderstead says, oh no, the thinkable has happened. It seems to be a real shame that they broke up during Pride Month. I wonder who gets J.D. Vance in the divorce. That's definitely put you on a list, Dan. East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, what entertainment tonight.
I know.
It's good. Yeah, anyway, three little bits. One I didn't mention to you, producer. Have you seen what Steve Bannon said about Musk wanting to deport him?
Oh, he wanted him deported, yeah.
And he said, the amazing bit was, he said, he will have made a mistake on his immigration paperwork somewhere, so we might as well deport him now.
Yeah, I don't think you can throw somebody with that much money out of a country. I think there's a certain amount of power that comes with having that much money that obviates any need to chuck him out, because he's just going to bounce, come back like a boomerang.
Yep. But the other thing was, I've got a sort of funny way of looking at the Epstein file instance thing, because we know about the parties because there's photos. We know they shared a girlfriend for a year. So the whole thing really depends on...
They shared a girlfriend?
Yeah. They were both seeing the same girl over, I think it was 10.5 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read that, but let's assume that might not be true, but go on.
Okay, but the thing is with this, it's really all about judgment of character and integrity and everything. So the question you have to ask is, what the hell was Epstein doing inviting Trump to his party?
These are the jokes, folks. I know he didn't hang out with some dodgy characters, Epstein. Yeah.
Absolutely, but the other one was, Tesla shares crashed the other day.
Again.
So I had a look at this, and I was digging around at bits of stuff, and I came across this quite remarkable bit of information. Tesla only just made a profit last year, and they got millions and millions of tax credit.
Oh, yeah.
Because they produce electric cars.
Yes.
Now, they didn't need them because they hadn't made much money. So they sold their tax credit to petrol engine car manufacturers to reduce their tax bill.
Yeah.
The financial finagling.
I know. It's like those manufacturers of highly polluting sports cars, like supercars. In order to get around the EU rules about emissions being a certain average for over your entire fleet, the makers of certain supercars put out as a town runaround a little electric two-seater, of the kind that can fit sideways into a parking space. They're so small, they're as long as an ordinary car is wide. But of course, because it's electric, they have zero emissions, and so that brought the average for the fleet down. But you can only buy one of those electric cars if you've bought one of their supercars ahead of time. So that's also how they finagle their way around the rules and regulations. There's always going to be some loophole somewhere.
Yeah, but just a question for you, Nick. Have you totally lost all confidence in the good chap principle? It's worked for 200 years, the good chap principle, but you seem to have lost confidence in it.
Well, here's the guy that made me lose confidence of it in the first place.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that not good chap. And if it's an irrelevance here, then it most certainly is with cream on top in America. Yeah, ain't no good chaps in the White House, not no more. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Alex texts, the most appalling love story of our time. Do you mean appalling or appealing? The most appalling love story of our time is finally over, and two of the loneliest, most insecure and hate-filled men on the planet are now fighting each other. This isn't just about the so-called big, beautiful bill. It's two out-of-control narcissists with cult followings fighting for control of the limelight, and no doubt the rest of us will pay the price. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that's the only thing you can be absolutely sure of. It ain't going to cost neither of them a penny. They'll be just fine. It's the rest of us who are screwed. Dan in Sanders said oh no, that's the thing about Pride Month. This says, if Elon wanted to go nuclear, he could release the voting machine files or the Kremlin files, but I reckon he'd soon be in a plane crash with the backdoor help of Vlad. Yeah, you can't hide from either of them forever. That's right. Runcorn. No, not Runcorn. Sandbach. John.
Yeah, well, I was talking about Runcorn.
Runcorn, right, go ahead.
Yeah, hiya. When you talk about literature, I start thinking the kooky and the spooky, they're all together kooky. But that's another story.
It is.
The lady in the representative for reform and spoke about banning the bakers.
Oh, right.
In the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
I mean, she's never been to witness. Has she really been to witness? You wouldn't see anybody in Baker if you drove around there for a day or a week. I mean, she got nothing in common with the people who voted her in, except that she's.
I'm not sure that's correct.
Bit of a racist, I suppose.
Well, let's not get carried away. But that's what she said in order, I imagine, to draw attention to herself, and she certainly got that in abundance. Are you all right, John?
Oh, she got it all right.
Yes. I think we're on delay here, John. I'm going to let you relax and maybe catch up with the rest of us. But I appreciate the call. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. This text says, as long as Farage is alive and not in the nursing home, his bandwagon, regardless of what name is painted on the side, will roll on. Followed by his cultists showering him with their last pennies. Yeah, well, him and Trump are so alike, aren't they? They attract the same kind of people by saying the same kind of things in the same sort of hypnotic and magnetic manner. Very difficult to take your eyes off them, whether you like them or loathe them. And this says, I saw Mission Impossible on IMAX and it was amazing.
Yowza.
I hope you don't wait for it to head to streaming. This one has to be seen on the big screen. It's as though the characters are coming out at you. Give it a shot. I've seen it already. I was about the first person in the country to see it outside of a premiere. I was there at the 12:30 in the afternoon showing on day one. Principally because I didn't want to know anything about the film before I'd seen it. And you know that there's going to be so many spoilers in the press. They just can't help themselves. They love ruining it. It's that sort of childish, I know something you don't know, that journalists, they can't help themselves. If they know how to, or if they know what the end of the film is, or some, amazing switch or something like that, they will spoil it for you. They can't help themselves. And so I wanted to avoid all of that. With great success. But the problem with the second one that's just come out is the same as the first part. It's some incredible action sequences, probably the, if not there might be the best action sequences ever filmed, with about an hour of talking, just going on and on. They could have chopped an hour off that film. But I think studios seem to value length of films, as though if it's a 3-hour film, it's somehow 50% better than a 2-hour film. And I'm not sure that's true. Woolwich. Hello, Richard.
Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah, I agree with you in Mission Impossible. I just thought they were trying to do too much of sort of like pulling it all together, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that meant kind of revisiting relationships and friendships and it got too much.
A bit like that Bond film, I can't remember which one it was, one of the very unsatisfying ones towards the end, and they tried to tie everything that had ever happened to James Bond, from Dr. No, into one giant kind of, like one long story, but it just isn't.
Yeah, exactly. And you sort of say, well, hang on a minute, we are intelligent. We did watch the other movies. Well, that's why we're coming to this one. But Nick, I want to talk about the moment, as it were. It just the last 24 hours. I don't know about you. It's just felt I've been on some Jerry Springer show, and it's just been that. And just in the news bulletin, just at 11 o'clock, they said now that Trump is no longer going, because there was talk he was going to talk with Musk. Yeah. Now he's declared he's not going to talk with him.
Well, no, because if Trump is famous for anything, it's throwing hissy fits. And so he must be throwing a hissy fit right now because he's seeing all of that money that would cement his place in power just flying out the window. And somebody is actually standing up to him in public. When can you ever remember that happening? I mean, somebody might say, well, that might not be true, in the Oval Office, some worldly, like the German guy. He corrected him very gently on a couple of things, but it was so gentle that Trump could just bat it away. Oh, well, that might be true, or I might be right, and they just carried on. But this time, he's come up against somebody who's got that much money, meaning that much power, and is as petty and self-involved as he is. And it's like a match made in heaven for the rest of us.
Yeah, but Lewis Goodall had the really good analysis about saying, well, why did the penny not drop earlier for Musk? And it seems like what's really interesting is why I feel like I'm in a sort of sitting there in a crunching my popcorn in an ongoing movie flick is that you see where this is all going. You can see with the Teslas bombing, the share dropping, and everything else. You can actually see that Musk is being in a very disadvantageous way, and yet he didn't see it himself. That was the peculiar thing, and now suddenly he sees it.
I just don't believe anything that either of them say. I don't believe that Elon Musk thought he could magic $2 trillion worth of efficiencies by barging into government departments and just firing everybody that he saw in there and shuttering the building and, cancelling contracts to look for a cure for cancer and cancelling kids' meals and cancelling foreign aid. All of that stuff that he pretends was efficiencies. It wasn't anything of the sort. What is coincidental is that he managed to successfully gut all of the government organisations that were overseeing his businesses. Very curious.
Very curious. And, and I know you're going back to the kind of the mid-news now, but I just want to say very quickly that if this does not sort of scream out, for God's sakes, do not vote charismatic populist leaders into power. I don't know what, and yet I'm convinced there was this guy from America that called you who still is convinced that charisma and power is the way to go. It's a nonsense.
Yeah. Can we have a little bit more boring in politics?
Yes, please.
Would that be possible? All right. Thanks a lot, Richard. 0345 6060 973. Griff in Eltham says, even before yesterday's bus stop, Donny was showing the strain as the two-tone taco went on his Truth Social to claim that Biden was executed in 2020 and was replaced by clones, body doubles and robots as president. So Biden, who had previous problems getting out of a room on occasions, was in reality a sophisticated robot. I'd like to suggest that there's another person who's taken ketamine as well. Joe Biden was a robot.
Affirmative. This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Yes, Ahmed, your call is important to us. New Malden.
Oh, hello. Greetings and good evening, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Yes. This Trump and Musk ding-dong is going to have to be played out because it's all in the open now.
Yeah, it's all in the open now. They're having a ding-dong.
Ding-bong.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, the thing is, both of them are law unto themselves. In fact, not the whole lot of them. They are just doing things at whim, whatever they want to do. So, what I really want to know is what sort of democratic system and judiciary is which allows a convicted criminal of 34 felony charges to become a president of the most powerful country in the world.
Because he got enough of a certain type of people to vote for him. Those people.
Yes, but the thing is, what sort of system is it? So you might as well bring back Boris.
Well, let's not get carried away.
No, I know. I mean, the thing is, this lot, they are doing things so undemocratically. It just doesn't make sense. And the whole of European leaders, they are just dumbfounded.
Well, here's how you take over a country. You don't barge in and take over everything and raise everything to the ground. You do it by very small increments, and you dare people to stop you doing one small thing, and they don't. And then you step over that invisible line on the ground, and then you dare people to stop you doing another thing, and they don't. And so you can step over that line too. And you keep walking, and suddenly everything that people rely on to keep a check on those in power is gone.
Well, yes, but Canada, Mark Carney's the only one who has really stood up to him.
Yeah. Well,
and why the rest of the European leaders of European countries, they are just, I think they are just being his poodle. I mean, have you seen this Chancellor Merz? He went there, he was sitting there like a, scaredy cat.
No, I'm not sure. I thought he held his ground relatively well. But the problem is, here's the difficulty with dealing with Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care about the people that he rules over. He uses America as a weapon and couldn't care less what happens to anybody else but him as a consequence. He's dealing with the leaders of countries who do care about their citizens. And that imparts an enormous advantage to Donald Trump. Not caring about who is hurt by your actions gives you a huge advantage when you're dealing with people that do.
Well, that's true, but until his own people, American citizens, get hit with high prices and everything, and his approach now, this tariffs, and all that, is going to really price them out of the market.
Right, and they will.
Expensive.
I know that, and they will blame anybody but the dear leader. They have joined a cult. There's just
they deserve.
But
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it means the American public is so stupid. Now they're realizing what they've done.
Well, the part that are stupid may be realizing what they've done.
I love the poorly educated,
but I doubt it, because they will do what Trump does himself. They will double down every time they're called out. Every time that somebody says, "No, Donald Trump, that's not right," his response is always, I mean, he's so predictable. His response is always to double down. and threaten, everything under the sun if you refuse to bow to his word.
Well, yes. But, Nick, in my humble opinion, I think the approach America, vis-a-vis Trump, America is taking is self-destructive. Despite their military might, okay, they can bully. I mean, what would you call bullying and...
He's acting in a dictatorial way, and it will affect the people that voted for him. But they will. Most of them won't accept that it's Donald Trump that did it because they voted for him. So it's like Brexit: too much loss of face, too much loss of hope. They put their hope and their faith in Donald Trump to improve their lives because that's what he said he'd do. And if he doesn't do it, then it'll have to be something else that's prevented him from doing it. Just like Brexit didn't work because we didn't Brexit enough, according to Farage and that lot. Which is complete nonsense because Brexit was delivered by a man whose very appeal to the electorate was to get Brexit done under a Brexit government, and the Brexit was negotiated by an arch-Brexiter who has spent all of the time since he negotiated that deal telling everybody what a terrible deal it was. I mean, it's just amazing.
Britain had to, they had to buy up this deal, what's its worth. They had to pay a heavy price for it, billions of dollars.
Right, but the thing that unites them, both Brexit and Trump, is that the supporters will always find a way to excuse it not working. It's Biden's economy, they're saying now.
Well, this is... if you keep saying long enough, I think people will perceive, probably try to see... Yes, it was...
They'll try to excuse it. They'll try to excuse their decision in any way they can, and those that who have the gauze taken from their across their eyes, and they can see clearly and realise what it is that is happening to their country. Well, those people can always be dealt with by shooting them in the legs, which is what he wanted to do when he was president the first time around. And all he wanted to do there was to go through a crowd for a photo shoot in front of a church. Just shoot them in the legs, he said. So it's going to happen, Ahmed. But thanks for that. You are justified in being concerned. 0345 6060 973. Richard in Seaford says, now that Trump has the new name of Taco, Trump always chickens out. Hang on. He says, Trump always chickens out. I think we should monitor him closely. We could keep a record via a taco meter, a bit like what lorry drivers have in their cabs. It could be fitted invisibly under his wig and beep every time he bottles it in his spat with Elon Musk. What do you think, Donny?
I don't wear a toupee.
Yeah, that's the part he's concentrating on. Anne says, the reason they keep pushing the idea that politics needs businessmen is just so that they can be in the driving seat to write all the laws to benefit themselves. Zero intention to run a fair and equitable society for the majority. Yeah, the amount of times that you hear that from people who know absolutely nothing about politics or running a country, who have unaccountably been given a role in doing just that, who say that what we really need is this country to be run like a business. We need businessmen as MPs. And the absolute opposite of that is the truth. We don't. Businesses are like sharks. They have, or like Terminators.
Affirmative.
They have no soul, no morals, and they absolutely will not stop ever until they've managed to eat up every tiny little morsel that they can. And anybody that gets in their way is to be dealt with very, very strongly. What they're after is every businessman's ideal is a monopoly. That's what they really want. And if you run a country in that way, then the only people that are going to win are, well, the leader. Like Donald Trump. It's the only people that are winning are either him or the people that he feels that he's going to have some use for. I mean, don't say friends, because I doubt he's actually had a real one of those ever. Sam in Cambridge says, no one knows what the backdrop music of the Trump-Musk spat should be. Perhaps When Two Tribes Go to War by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Or a slow dance together to Reunited by Peaches and Herb. Oh, God. Oh, that is vomit-inducing. Reunited by Peaches and Herb. How about the Pina Colada song? Hey, Donnie, do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain? Oh, well, we know you don't like that. Messes with your hair. How about into yoga? Do you have half a brain?
Don't be rude.
Dave in Cheshire says, it's like watching two hideous boxers fight when they both want to lose. Oh, where you want both to lose. That makes more sense. From the top, Dave in Cheshire says, it's like watching two hideous boxers fight where you want both to lose. Let's sit back and enjoy watching them ruin each other. The only worry I have at this point is Mr. Eyeshadow Guyliner could well end up replacing Trump sooner than expected. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, as appalling as Donald Trump is as a human being, what's behind him, lurking in the shadows, waiting to take over at just the right moment, is even worse. I mean, you know, at least Donald Trump just wants money and power. But those people want to actually take over the world. And they believe with good reason that they can do just that.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we're doing a radio show. But it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
It is a highly popular podcast.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I do find that it is amusing. If it makes me laugh, then it'll probably make you laugh too. Now, the idea is it's a problem-solving podcast. If you have a problem, an issue with your life that you would like an expert to handle, then you're going to have to contact somebody else. But if you have an issue or conundrum that you would like us to handle, then simply send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com. That is nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied.
Yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? And if you want to take a break from all this politicking, all the news that's swirling around you like this miserable eddy, then it will be right up your alley. There's over 300 episodes up there to enjoy, and I do believe that you will find it amusing. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? Now, let's see. Cornwall. Hello, Malcolm.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
Nick, I'm going to step away from my chicken sandwiches and I'm going to talk to you, my friend.
Chicken sandwich.
Chicken.
Yeah. What have you got? What's in the sandwich?
I was about to get the mayonnaise out. Hey, listen, mate, it's been a wonderful week, do you not think?
Yes, but you didn't answer my question.
Go on.
What's in the sandwich?
Oh, I just told you chicken and salt.
And?
Mayo.
Yes.
That's it. It's a chicken sandwich.
Is that it?
What do you mean? Yeah, you're asking is there lettuce, is there cucumber, is there...
Yes.
Spring onions? No.
Everything that makes a sandwich sing.
No. It kills the chicken, man.
Are you joking? So you put chicken and salt and mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Now, you understand that the chicken will have been cooked in salt and the mayonnaise has salt in it. So what you're actually eating... Wait a minute. What you're actually eating is a salt sandwich.
Now, what you've got to realise is that the chicken I bought is fresh off the chicken's breast. So it's not been salted. It's not seen a condiment in its life. All right? So, you know. Anyway, look.
Yes.
You made my night tonight. I'm happy and sad. Your weather forecast.
Yeah.
Glasgow, it's raining, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my wife is going up there for 2 weeks holidays.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's
and
great news.
And
yeah,
that makes you happy.
Well, I tell you what, the fact he's going on the holidays...
Yes, that makes you happy. Right.
Makes me less jealous, put it that way.
Well, it's raining tonight, and it'll be raining tomorrow, and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday, and raining on Tuesday, and raining on Wednesday, and raining on Thursday, and raining on Friday, and raining next Saturday, and she'll have 2 days off when it will still be cloudy, but it won't actually get wet, and then it will continue to rain for the rest of her holiday.
But in fairness, she's going to support the daughter, who has a beautiful dog, and obviously they're going to save an awful lot of money on doggy daycare. And so the wife will be happy she's indoors with the dog, and the girl is happy she's studying without a care in the world. So all good. Anyway,
okay. Well, that sounds like HAPP-Winus has been delivered to your household. You must be delighted.
But back to the things that trouble the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beckenham, who I'll leave Beckham there a minute, because I really want to come back to him. But I think, Nick, and I'm going to trigger you. I know I am about to trigger you.
Uh-oh.
But I think Trump actually acted with a modicum of dignity, showing leadership. Maybe a tad of fear.
What are you talking about?
Well, is bust up with Musk, and the way he did to conduct himself, as opposed to the way he could have conducted himself,
or may conduct himself in the near future. Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, moving on from that, let's go on there from Trump to Musk.
But hang on a minute. Wait a minute. Before you do that, can we back up? You're saying that he had a modicum of, what was the word you used?
Dignity.
Do you really think that the world's most powerful human, the President of the United States of America, calling someone on social media all of the names that he has and saying that they've lost their mind in all caps with exclamation marks after it, you think that's dignified?
Yeah, but you're look, you know what we're talking about here. It's Friday night. It's 10 until 1.
Yeah.
You know what we usually speak about, but we can honestly not look back and really say that, oh my God, wasn't Trump awful against Musk? Because I think it was the other way around.
They were both awful. Like it's like I said at the top of the show. It's it's like choosing between two different poisons to kill yourself.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, look, we've all been looking forward to this minute for 6 months. And it's arrived, and I think it's a bit of a damp squid, because I think it'll pass, and I think they will kiss and make up.
I don't think it will pass. I can't imagine that it will pass, because Donald Trump his entire life is getting back at people who he thinks have slighted him. That's his entire reason for being.
Yes. So I think that Trump hasn't hit any targets with Musk yet, and I think he'll want to bring him back in, use the time to expand the targets on Musk, and then I think he will absolutely slaughter him in due course. Whereas I think Musk is in a really... So moving on from Trump to Musk, right, Nick? I think Musk is in a really, really dangerous place. I think that yesterday, the 35 million he lost personally, and 35 billion, and the 150 billion that Tesla lost.
Right, this is all on paper. This is all only on paper. This is assuming that he wants to sell his shares, which he doesn't.
Yeah, look, Nick, let's be realistic here. Elon Musk was only in the White Office, the Oval Office, in the White House, because of what he's worth, as you put it, on paper, in inverted commas, right? So my point is this, right? I think Musk is in huge trouble, because his world tonight, I hope he's got the ketamine supply stacked up, because I think that is going to become a bigger feature in his life, because Musk isn't a person who runs a Tesla at the shop floor level. He's not the man who runs SpaceX at the shop floor level.
No,
he doesn't run anything, Nick, where his voice is heard by anybody who matters.
Well, he didn't invent any of the things that he is famous for. He took over companies that other people had started, and then opened the front door of his building for government subsidies, and they poured billions of dollars in the lobby.
Yes, he was and is still the receptacle of the billions from the government to keep the best brains in America in jobs and being really, really creative, which they are. Because look, yesterday it could have gone ugly with SpaceX and then the offshoot of that Starlink, which is hugely helping out Ukraine. And not a lot of people know about this stuff, but Musk sits on stuff that really, really is important. The people in the space station, the people in Ukraine, the people in Israel, all over the world.
He's tried to inveigle himself into the American government to the extent that he is the monopolistic provider of some essential services and kit. And so having done that, it makes him rather hard to get rid of, because what are you going to do to replace all of the things that he has managed to supply for the American government, like the things that you just mentioned?
Well, because Nick, he just got Trump, or he played a big part, let's say 30, 40, 50% of Trump being elected. His money helped, right?
Yeah.
So he can damage that part of Trump's life, okay? But the big thing, Nick, is this, right? Without people like Musk, and I think especially Musk, Trump won't look so glamorous and gorgeous if Musk isn't in the office working Trump, right?
No, I don't believe that's true. No, he benefits from the money, but Trump is the kind of person that can generate headlines without money. I mean, you can buy adverts with a lot of money, that's right. But the first time that he was elected, Donald Trump didn't really spend very much money, and just benefited from cameras from TV stations not being able to turn away from him, because he generates his own publicity. He don't really need the money. I mean, having the money is nice, and I bet he thinks about little else day and night, but he doesn't need Elon as much as Elon needs the American government to stay as rich as he is.
Nick, can I bring it home now? Can I bring it home? Look,
bring it on
night,
home.
I stayed up last night until just like 3-4 in the morning, but 3-ish, up at 3. And I watched the Scottish by-election. And something big happened.
Committed.
No, hold on. Let me
you are
say this.
committed, Malcolm.
I'm living a boring life, Nick. But listen to this, right? Last night, I think a big event happened. And not a lot of people know this, Nick, but in Scotland next year, you've got the Holyrood election, right? But last night was a by-election.
Yeah.
And you got Labour at the absolute pit of their, I think, downturn as far as it was a downturn. Hold on, Nick.
They're nadir. I'm just offering a word. That's all. Nadir. There you go.
Right. Yes. Right. So I think, Nick, last night Labour won, and
they did win.
Place,
Thinking place, Nick, is neither here nor there. They did win.
Nick, second place was at the SNP.
Yes.
Third place.
I know all this. Yes.
Was. Reform.
Yeah.
And in last place was the Tories, right? So let's look at the leadership. And Farage, he lost his chairman, a man who has millions, but more importantly, probably the only real brain in the party. The Tories, the Tories, Nick. If you watched Kemi yesterday in Parliament, and if you watched her live on TV this morning,
no, I did not.
She's gone. She is history. But the problem for the Tories is, Nick, when do they let her go? So for me, Nick,
what's this got to do with the election last night? Listen, what is this? Moreover, what does this have to do with David Beckham?
Right, David Beckham is getting a knighthood, which I think is brilliant for him. It's brilliant for him because
I know. When will the Beckhams ever get a break? Yeah,
it's a reward. And look. English people will hate me being a Welshman in England, but I think I'm being truthful in that David Beckham is being awarded a knighthood for being able to
occupying the sidebar of shame with him and his entire family for what seems like eons.
No. Chase kicks. He's not a Pele. He's not a Maradona. No. He's not a Wayne Rooney. People who can.
He worked hard at the game.
Yes. And that's why he's getting a knighthood.
Right. Well, okay. Well, it's probably not why he's getting a knighthood. He's getting a knighthood because he got after the game he got rich and famous, richer and famous-er. That's why he's getting the gong. not because he was, a pretty good player when he was at Man United. Not for that goal that introduced him to the world against Wimbledon, struck from inside his own half. No, it's because of the haircuts and the togas and the marriage and the kids and advertising absolutely everything. Is there a product that is currently available to consumers that David Beckham isn't advertising? I mean, is there a type of product he isn't advertising? He must do cars. I know he does watches and booze and... Well, I could sit here and fill the rest of the show with the things that he's advertising at the moment. It's almost like nobody else is available to advertisers. It's absolutely incredible how many products he's got his tattooed face in front of. I'm not sure I really get it, other than he seems to have swerved any scandal in his life, more or less. And he has remained famous. I suppose that's it. Doesn't seem like much, but I guess it's enough. Thanks a lot for that wide-ranging treatise, Malcolm. Appreciate it.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You're joking.
This text says, I definitely see Elon being that one weird kid that eats chalk and scabs, has an indiscriminate vitamin deficiency, and breathes loudly for some reason. Blimey, that's awful. And Paul in Manchester says, hey Nick, is Elon a goodie or a baddie now? They should be forced to wear eye patches and hats with feathers in so we can tell them apart. San Francisco, hello Sophia.
Hi Nick, thanks for getting my call. This whole situation between Musk and Trump, it was always a marriage of convenience. And I think, based on I have a doctorate in history, and I can tell you, Trump must need Trump more than Trump need Musk, because Trump will always get the PR and publicity. However, Trump can just make one phone call and cancel all of Musk's contracts.
Yes.
And then he'll be out on his ass. So Trump has the upper hand there. Also, I think, what we are seeing the decline of the United States at the moment, because if you look at the ancient Roman Empire, it's going through the same growing pains of a slow collapse. America, in many ways, has become a joke. And if the European Union can come up with a strong military force, it will make the euro credible to replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency, and it will just cut America off the knees.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's going to happen with the euro. But what do I know? I'd expect China to overtake America as an economic power before that happens, and then I guess all bets are off. But Donald Trump and his minions will have made all of their money, so what do they care?
Well, that's a very important point, Nick, because if you look at the current budget, all those tax cuts are going to billionaire bodies.
Yeah.
They make all the money they want, and then they be out of town, and they just basically say, screw everybody. And America will be on its last legs because it will become a totally bankrupt ashes of its former self. And that's what we're seeing, basically.
Yeah, he's going to add $3 trillion, which is a number that's so big you can't even have it in your mind. It just becomes meaningless. After billion is too big a number, and trillion is just, it's 1,000 times more than that again.
Yes, it's 3,000 billion.
And he's going to. That's right, and he's going to. He's going to save money by taking the money from people's health care and the sort of start, I think they call them start policies, where they, give children a healthy meal first thing in the day so that they can concentrate more.
Yes.
So they're taking money from that, which is disproportionately used by Republican states. The Democrat states are the ones that make the money, and the Republican states are the ones that take the money out, which is just incredible, because the Republicans, the party is the opposite of the states that they that they run. The states that they run are hooked on government handouts.
California
and the Democrat
California
states are the ones that make all the money. New York, California, and
Yeah, California by itself will be the third largest, the fourth largest economy in the world.
Fifth. I think fifth. It would. I think it would beat us in this little old island.
Yeah. But the sad reality is that with the $3 trillion added, it will be now almost 40. America will now be $40 trillion in debt. It will be more than its gross domestic product, and that's not sustainable.
Well, it isn't, as long as you care about what happens in the future. But as I said, they will have made hundreds of billions of dollars to share out amongst them, and and the people that have visited this nightmare on the American people won't care.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. Well, the best of luck, Sophia.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Pete in Finland says, if Musk won't use his spaceship business to ferry astronauts from the spaceship back to Earth, then I guess they're just going to have to stay up there. Yeah, it seems a bit weird to have positioned himself into being the sole provider of taxis to and from the International Space Station. How are they going to get him down? But that's one of the things that Elon Musk has apparently walked back on. First he said, right, okay, that's it. I'm going to pack up my spaceship taxi service to and from the International Space Station. And then he thought about it for a short while and said, oh, okay, no, I won't do that. And I bet part of the equation of him coming to that conclusion was the thought that Donald Trump could, if Elon Musk went through with that, thereby stranding those astronauts up there, Donald Trump could have said, well, I'm calling a national emergency and I'm going to have to take over your business for the good of America. We must do it for our security. Arguments along those lines. And he probably could have done it. Just take over Elon Musk's space rocket business in order to save American lives. I bet he could have done that. And I would double bet with cream on top that that's what Elon Musk thought when he rode back on that threat. 0345 6060 973. Venki, Croydon.
Hi, Nick.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
I had a couple of things to run past you. I was just thinking with, the whole sort of Trump and Elon Musk. One of them basically has nuclear codes, and the other of them has all of the private data of each and every American.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't scare anyone, I don't know what else will.
Yeah. And the same companies that have all of America's details, I mean, because that's one thing that the Elon Musk people did when they went into those government departments. All of those separate government departments who don't necessarily talk to each other which one gives out your car license plate and which one gives out the food stamps, and, all of these disparate organizations, they all have a huge amount of information about every single American on their books. If you combine it all together, well, that's money right there. That's probably the greatest power outside of a military force that can be amassed. And Elon Musk has all of it, exactly. Including the people in this country, because the companies that have put all that information together are the same ones that we have that have government contracts in this country.
Exactly, and he's just taken all of that over, and it's sort of astonishing that we've got these two babies basically on the world stage, and we're all sort of, every news is exactly the same since yesterday. Oh, Donald Trump has just said that he's going to sell off his Tesla. Watch for the next bulletin, see what happens next. And Musk has just said that he's going to row back on the SpaceX. Watch for the next bulletin. What's next? And we're all sort of, just basically waiting with bated breath. What's going to come down now? And it's just unbelievable.
I've said this before. What it is like is being tied to a chair in a room with a baby playing with a gun.
Except now we have two babies.
Two babies. That's right.
You've got two babies now doing the same thing. And, headline news, by the way, and I was just looking through this. Fiona Hill, who used to be the chief advisor on Russian affairs in the first iteration of the Trump administration, she just basically said on the defense review, she was part of the defense review that we had, and she's basically said that we are at war with Russia.
Oh, I've heard that so many times. I've asked people on my my Serious Sunday show. I'll often talk about the Ukraine war, and I've asked, ex intelligence officers, ex-military people, and they all say the same thing. Yeah, we've been at war with Russia for a good long while. It's just that nobody really knows it.
And she's basically said now that from now onwards, the US is no longer a reliable ally.
No, definitely not.
And given the fact that now they have, this happening on the other side as well, this is, even if you sort of step back and take a look at this sort of from a viewpoint of 5 years before, the fact that we are at this position, if you had written this down in a novel or, said this as some sort of a fantasy novel, this would be rejected.
It would have been refused by the publisher as being too outlandish. Yeah,
exactly.
And yet here we are.
And here we are.
All right. Good work, Venki. Got to go. Time's up. But thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him, and I just don't know anything about him.
Donald Trump said that Ukraine blowing up some Russian planes is going to give Vladimir Putin the excuse to bomb Ukraine. I don't think he needs an excuse. I think he was going to go ahead and do it anyway. But thanks for giving him the green light, Donny. And I don't think he needs a green light either. 0345 6060 973. I can't. There's so much to talk about. I barely know where to begin. But as we're already 2 hours in, I'll just continue as we've started. Somerset, hello, John.
Oh, hello, Nick. It's funny. How are you, by the way? Are you well?
Yes, good, thanks.
It's funny you were just saying that you don't know where to begin. I've got a whole wall full of yellow Post-it notes.
Really? Are you trying to solve a murder?
No, it's just like trying to add it all. Trying to work it all out.
Right.
But Elon Musk, I haven't got material, right? But I don't mind quoting somebody else. Jonathan Pike said that Elon Musk looks like Elon Musk wearing an Elon Musk mask.
Yes.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that too.
Anyway, excuse me. The other thing is, did you notice there was this controversy about Musk had a black eye?
Yes.
Yeah, and he said that his son did it to him when they were messing around.
He said that he asked his son to hit him in the face, and his son did.
Yeah.
You can believe that. I have my reservations.
Well, why didn't he just ask Robert De Niro?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Robert De Niro is itching for a chance to punch him in the face.
Absolutely. But he also said it was horseplay.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a clue there, because apparently he's been on ketamine.
Mm-hmm. Which is horse tranquilizer, yeah.
Which is horse tranquilizer. And the thing is, you're supposed to give it to the horse after it kicks you in the head, not before. You're not supposed to take it yourself.
Right, that's right. Yeah, you're supposed to give it to the horse, it's not to alleviate pain for you personally, yeah.
Yeah, it's not for human consumption after you've been kicked in the head by a horse.
Yeah, well, you do know a lot about being kicked in the head by a horse, don't you, John?
I know a little bit about it.
A little bit, yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah, I'll play that in a minute.
I'll play that in a minute. That'd be great. But also, I've got so much more to say.
Yes.
You know the Twitter spat and all that they've got. So, what's his face? Musk has got Twitter, hasn't he? Which he calls X.
He's the only one that calls it X, by the way. Everybody else still calls it Twitter, much to his chagrin. But we are our own people, and we will not be told. To me, it'll always be the post office tower. Furthermore.
Absolutely, but he's the only one who calls his son X. Everyone else calls him Twitter.
These are the jokes, folks.
This is good stuff. But anyway, and what's his name? Trump's got his thing called Truth Social, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And earlier on today, I was thinking they should rename that Struth. So I can't say it.
It's what now?
Truth Social.
Yeah. Well, if only it was easy to say. Yeah.
If only it was easy to say. But the other thing is, you can never imagine at the moment how bad this might get. And I was thinking about, do you like the Naked Gun films?
Yes.
There's a line, Frank Drebin it is, isn't it? And is it Priscilla Presley that's in one of those films?
Yes.
And
you're not going to, hang on a minute, you're not going to talk about the bit where she climbs up the ladders in the library, are you?
No.
Right.
No, I'm going to talk about they've broken up. And he turns round to her and says, like, as a sort of gotcha, and I think either Trump or Musk will say it to each other on social media. They'll say, I faked all those orgasms.
Right. Yeah. You had to have been there, I suppose. Yeah. All right. Good effort. Thanks a lot, John. And this is what we were talking about.
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project.
Mm-hmm.
I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened, and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Hey, John, that's one of the most perfect examples of comic timing I've ever heard. Could you believe that he actually came up with that question in such a timely fashion?
Well, I didn't exactly script it like that, and I had to try and disguise my voice.
Right.
But yeah, he walked right into it, didn't he?
I mean, it was just... Laurel and Hardy couldn't have timed it any better than that. It was perfect. All right, thanks for the laughs, John. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Bernie in Kent says, the White House sounds like an awesome nursery, or as Americans like to call it, kindergarten. They must have Peter Pan on auto replay, as none of them seem to want to grow up. They are just all lashing out wildly like a bunch of toddlers, aren't they? It's just... If it wasn't so blooming awful, if each of them weren't so terrible a person, it would actually be laugh out loud funny. I mean, I suppose it is in a way. We just have to get our amusements when we can. Arthur in Arkansas says, I'm enjoying the new LBC app. The warm blue colour is quite welcome, as the former bright white colour was so bright and white. It looked like my phone was celebrating Jesus' birthday every night I listened. Out here among the dinglings in Arkansas. Yeah, I bet there are plenty of dinglings there. Well, that's nice. An unsolicited testimonial about the LBC app, on which, by the way, you can listen to this show. If you just can't take it anymore and you need to go to sleep, then be aware that this show and the Saturday night show get stuck up the internet as a podcast, and they're both exclusive to either the global app or our new LBC app, which is all singing and dancing. Are you dancing? Well, the LBC app is dancing too, and it's asking. Get it from your app store. It is totally free, as in costs nothing, no money, nothing. I think you'll love it. Let's have Oldbury, Ranjit.
Hey, Nick, you're right, mate.
Yes, Ranger. I was reading a paper story today about the correct way in which to eat fish and chips. It said, you've been eating fish and chips wrong.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to know how you're supposed to?
Go on, then.
That sounds like a no.
No, it doesn't. Go on, tell me.
It sounded like you weren't remotely interested.
I am. I've been thinking about you since yesterday, Roy, and I can't wait for it. He's like, go on, tell me how you're going to eat these fish and chips.
Yeah. You're supposed to eat fish and chips, said an expert, by utilising the wooden fork that comes with them. Because with that method, you can only spear one chip at a time, thereby making the meal last longer and you enjoy it more. You can concentrate on the deliciousness of each individual chip part.
Yeah, that's like me giving you a potato crisp, yeah, and pressing my thumb on it when it's in your palm and saying you've got a lot more now. Yeah.
Don't even think about doing that.
Okay, listen, I've been really, I can't, I thought, like when a kid's waiting for Christmas, yeah. One more sleep, it was one more hour, yeah. First of all, you know what, the Americans are very advanced, right? This is something I don't understand, right? When you say the lines are all clear and everything when you ring Australia, whatever, on their radio, have they got an on-off button? Or do they have to have a go at you? That gentleman he's living in your head for nothing. Well, just turn it off, mate. Listen to something else if you don't like it. Yeah? We're telling the truth. This is how we feel. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything to get really uptight about, but I have heard that. I've heard that so many times from people who don't like me talking about whatever it is, and the response of the moment is, oh well, that thing or person is living in your head rent free.
Yeah, I've had that.
As though that dismisses everything I've said on that topic.
Yeah, I've had that, about the Tories or whatever. They say, Ranji, you know what, you could earn a bit of money, man. You could charge them a bit of rent because they're living in your head, right? Anyway, you missed a classic, I'm afraid. Biden, not Biden, Donald Trump goes, this Elon Musk thing, it's all Biden's fault. Because he give him all these contracts, right, for EV and everything, right? And he blamed it on Biden. He's blaming everything on Biden, right? Right, and if you look on the social media, there's so many videos that are made, right, about Donald Trump. There's one I've just seen, right. They're walking around with I and the big heart sign Trump, yeah, and it's Elon Musk wearing that one and vice versa. These guys are absolutely pathetic, right? The thing is now, something's going to have to happen, right? I mean, the first thing is Elon Musk has made a very strong accusation against him. And I'm going to give you some more homework because you haven't completed your last homework, Mr. Abbott.
Oh, but, sir, it's the weekend.
You're going to have to watch it. You're going to watch Donald Trump, the great American Dream. I think it's on one of the Sky channels on Netflix, yeah. It actually tells you the rise and how his dad started and how Donald Trump did.
I have a vague idea, but I really don't want to sit there looking at Donald Trump for hours on end. I just can't. I mean, that's beyond homework. That's torture. That is.
It is torture, but what I'm saying is it shows all the people that he was affiliated with, right?
Yes.
He could have become a Democratic candidate.
Well, he was. I mean, he gave money to Democrat candidates, and he decided later on that it would benefit him personally by pretending to be a Republican. So that's what he's doing now, and he's also, pretending to be a godly man.
Yeah, and we got someone else that wrote 2 articles, didn't he? Yeah, that wrote the one for Brexit and one for Remain.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So this guy picked his choice, right? But the thing is now, when I think it was Mike from, he's probably listening to LBC earlier, the guy that done his autobiography, of Donald Trump. Yes, they did share that, this girlfriend, him and Epstein.
Oh,
right?
I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah, that's what he said. And then it was Rachel Johnson. She was trying to ask him some,
strong questions, and he was trying to deny. Well, he was trying to avoid them, because at the end of the day, Nick, this list of people that may not see Christmas is getting longer and longer, and I think Elon Musk needs to be very careful. Right.
Yes. Well, I think what Elon Musk has to defend himself is this giant wall of money that could reach from here to space. And he has the ability to hurt Donald Trump politically, because it's all about advertising. And that's how you win the American election, by spending $1 billion on adverts. That's how you do it. $1 billion. And every election race of any kind that's coming up, Elon Musk could fund massively whichever candidate is the antithesis of Donald Trump. So he could be a thorn in Trump's side forever. And I just wonder what Trump will do, how far he will go. Will he go total Vladimir Putin and lock the guy up and take all his money? Or something else untoward might happen. It would be a shame if something happened to you.
Absolutely.
You know, like mafia style.
There are two little things. One, he goes, I'm going to sell that Tesla, right? Okay. You know what? How much is that as a percentage? To be honest with you, if Donald Trump uses his brain right, he could say, right, I got this given to me for 20,000, right? Come on, let's have a bidding auction on it. Who wants to buy this car?
Oh, well, yes.
And he probably make some money off it, yeah?
Yeah, he could get his jingling fans to pour money his way in order, we'll have a raffle. There's just $10 per ticket, or 100 or 1,000. They'd still buy it.
Yeah, and when he says he's going to deport Elon Musk, yeah? Well, he's offering that golden visa, isn't he?
I don't think that Donald Trump said that. Some of his associates.
Well, they are, but what's his name? Elon Musk could turn around and say, I tell you what, J.D. Vance, right, I'm going to sponsor you, right, to be the topple him over after he gets impeached, yeah? And are you going to give me... Well, he's probably got permanent residency anyway.
It doesn't really make any difference these days whether you've got permanent residency or not. They're going to put a bag over your head and bundle you in the back of an unmarked van anyway. Here, Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks for that. Cheers.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet it is. Why would you think otherwise? 0345 6060 973. Let's have Somerset. Laura.
Hi, Nick. You having fun?
Yes, Laura. Why not? Of course. What a show.
You sneezed on a button just there or something during the ad break.
No, it's very technical. I can bore you to death by explaining exactly what just happened, but you probably don't want to hear it.
Well, if you're going to bore me to death, I mean, it's no different to what you do every week, though, eh?
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Savage swipe. Can you believe that?
But tell you what, nothing says Pride Month more than the leader of the free world having a virtual lover spat with his ex-boyfriend on Twitter. Isn't that amazing?
It is excruciating and incredible and hilarious in equal measure.
Oh, exactly. And bless Malcolm and his little sandwich. He's living proof, right? Because he said that... what did he say? Trump has shown us some dignity. That if you have incredibly low standards, then you can never be disappointed.
Yeah, if you have an incredibly high salt intake, then it probably causes some sort of noise in the brain. I would imagine it affects your judgment. I'd say, yeah.
I would guess so.
That was a terrible sounding sandwich, by the way. Chicken and salt, and that's it. Oh, and mayonnaise. That's no kind of sandwich. That's...
Yeah, I mean,
there's no effort that's gone into that at all. Does he have no respect for his own taste buds?
Oh, I know. Nick, where is the love? That's
exactly.
what I'm going to say.
Yes, precisely right. Food must be served with love.
The salt and the mayo is fine. You can hold everything else if you're making me a sandwich.
Hold the chicken?
Yes, exactly.
Shall we recreate 5 easy pieces? Where shall I hold it?
I wanted to direct you and your callers to sorry, did you want to make another swipe about chickens?
No, I just wanted to know whether you have any idea what I'm talking about. 5 easy pieces. Jack Nicholson. No? No. Okay. There's a big scene in
If it makes you feel-
there's a scene in a diner where he just wants. I can't remember exactly, but I think he just wants
As good
toast.
as it gets, of course I know.
As good as what gets?
That's the film.
5 easy pieces.
Yeah.
As good as it gets.
Yeah.
What's as good as it gets?
The film with Jack Nicholson. Right, I wanted to direct you and your callers to
No,
a...
5 Easy Pieces is a film starring Jack Nicholson. It was one of his early films, and no, you're thinking about that relationship movie with him and whoever it was, and I don't think I've ever seen that because it would probably be people sitting around talking about their feelings. Boring. No one's interested in that.
But I was going to direct you and your callers to a conundrum, philosophical conundrum that I deal with when things get too dark in the world. It just cheers me up, right? Before I go on to that, David Beckham can have a knighthood just for being so fit, is all I'll say. Just let him cook, you know?
Don't you think that he looks just ridiculous with all those tattoos on? I mean, I know that... Well, I don't know, but I assume that getting a tattoo is addictive because I've never seen anybody with just one. They get one and then they have to cover themselves with these completely random, unconnected blobs all over them, and they just look absolutely ridiculous. But he, because he doesn't have to work for a living, and his future finance is secure. He's got... they're everywhere. They're all over his hands and his face and his neck and, oh, my God, just give it a rest.
Is his finance situation secure? Because otherwise, why would he be doing all that? He's got his thumbs in every single pie out there. He's probably advertising with his tattoos at this point. He's probably got, drink Pepsi on his forearm.
I wouldn't be remotely surprised. No, there doesn't seem to be a product on God's earth that he is not currently advertising. It's just amazing.
But the conundrum I wanted to advertise to you was, who would win, the sun or a trillion lions? And before you discount the lions, just know this. If you stacked a trillion lions, they could reach the sun. That's how much space they could occupy.
Did you just ask me who would win in a fight between a trillion lions and the sun?
I didn't make it up. It's on the internet. But think about it.
Well,
it always cheers me up.
I'm not going to think about any such thing. The internet is an idiot.
Now, hold on a sec. If you stack them, they can reach the sun. That's how many of them there are.
Right. And
stack them.
Stack them. Have you ever tried stacking lions?
Well, I didn't say they'd like it. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if you stack them, they would reach the sun.
Okay.
Just think about it, Nick.
I most certainly will do nothing of the sort, but thanks for the suggestion. Cheers, Laura. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. I'd have to say that was the most dispiriting sounding sandwich I've ever heard of in my life. I would reject that. If somebody gave that to me, I would turn it down. I'd rather starve. I'd rather skip a meal than have a desultory sandwich made with no love, no care or attention, no thought, no imagination. Who serves such a thing? I mean, who serves it to somebody else? Never mind about serving it to themselves. To themselves, they did that. I mean, that's tantamount to a cry for help from me. I think that there is something seriously amiss in that household. Chicken in bread with salt and mayonnaise, and that's it. Ugh. You can hold the mayonnaise and the salt and the chicken and the bread. I'll just have a little sip of water. Thanks for asking. 0345 6060 973. Mark in Orpington says, we have reached the part of the show where Elon's tweeting memes like a 13-year-old with a caffeine problem, and Trump is retaliating on Truth Social, which, let's be honest, has the user base of a church newsletter written by conspiracy theorists with dial-up internet. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, being a little bit rude there, Mark. A little bit. Just enough to get you on a list. I wouldn't think about going to America anytime soon. Let's see. Scarborough, Eliza.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Yes, Eliza.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. This situation with Trump and Musk, I don't have any secret information or anything like that. It just occurred to me that it might not be real.
Yeah.
Because things often aren't as they seem.
Yep.
And especially with him thinking about setting up his own party. With a man who's got all this information on people, it's going to be like Cambridge Analytica on steroids. And
they will be able to, with the information that Elon Musk has on Americans, and presumably us too, then he will be able to micro-target advertising to each and every single one of us. Hundreds of millions of different adverts were going to be created by AI, and they'll go out on a daily basis, or maybe even on an hourly basis, by which method he will wash the minds of everybody that receives that information, because propaganda works. So it's his power now, Elon Musk's power, is beyond the money, way beyond it. He's got something way more important and valuable, and that's information about every single one. He's probably got more information about you, not necessarily you, Eliza, but the average American, than they realise about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But he may want the power for himself, but it might all be a setup just so that Trump doesn't lose power in the Senate and the House. Because I think Trumpers are more likely to just stay with Trump. They are so... Yeah, so...
Absolutely, yeah.
The people who now think, Trump, Elon is against Trump, so now we'll support him, they're more likely to be people who just didn't vote at all, or would possibly vote Democrat, or maybe people who were traditionally Democrats but didn't vote for Kamala because they just thought...
Yeah, it's like the dear leader is under attack, and so we'll turn those unpopularity figures upside down, because even the people that voted for him are, to some extent, backing off Trump a little bit. So it had occurred to me, too, that all of this is just what they call flooding the zone, just putting so much distraction your way that you miss what they're actually doing, which is robbing us all blind.
Yeah, well, there's not many people talking about this great big bill as well, so it could be also that helps them out. Plus, he's got a load of people back on X because they just wanted to see the drama, and they might want to hang around for a bit longer just to see what else happens.
Right.
So, I know Tesla sales have gone down, but they'll probably go back up again. And you can afford to lose a bit of cash, so.
Actually, the way you're describing it sounds entirely plausible, because it would do both of them a ton of favours. It would bring Trump's wavering support back online because the dear leader is being attacked, and it would position Elon Musk back as the friend of the eco-conscious. He's not in Trump's camp anymore. He's supposedly attacking Trump, so now he's back going to be a green warrior for clean air and peace.
Yeah, and they'll start buying Teslas again, because they wanted a Tesla, but they thought, no, I won't get one.
Exactly.
It seems like a Nazi, but he's not a Nazi anymore. Everything's fine.
I think you've cracked the code there, Eliza.
Yeah, shame, innit?
Would you like to head up MI6? Can you start first thing Monday morning? All right, cheers, my dear. Thanks for that.
Leading Britain's conversation. Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Joe in Surrey says, all these shenanigans between Space Opera Trump and Electric Elon. What I really want to know is, what does Melania think of all of these games? Over to you, Melania.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Let's have Watford. Barbara.
Hiya.
Barbara.
I spoke to you, you probably don't remember, when the nurses were on strike.
No, I don't. Unless you can remind me.
Yeah, I will do. I was in Watford Hospital, and I had two nurses, and we had patients of 60, and they were run off their feet, and I phoned you, and I said to you that the country should if they supported the nurses to go on strike. And you said, well, I wouldn't get paid. And I said, well, I don't give a damn if you wouldn't get paid.
Oh, I said I wouldn't get paid.
Yeah.
That was very selfish. I'm a selfish person.
Exactly. That's what I said. But the reason I phoned you was you often talk about Wisley Gardens.
Right.
I'm roughly the same age as you.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad used to take me to Wisley when it was just a lake, and in the middle was an island with a tree, etc.
Right.
And we used to swim in that lake across to the island. I don't know what it is like now, but I do know that you visit Wisley Gardens. So I was just...
Well, they got a lake down the bottom by the motorway, but that's a recent addition. And they do have an island in the middle of it, and they got a big fountain in order to drown out the noise of the motorway. But that's, like I said, that's only a couple of years old, so I don't know which part you're talking about.
Well, I wouldn't know, because when we used to park on the road, I'm going back like 50-odd years ago.
Oh, right.
We used to park on the lane,
Yeah.
and we had to have to walk through the woods to the lake, and there was masses of trees and nothing but trees until you got to the lake, and then we used to swim across the island. So I'm interested in what they've done in Wisley Gardens to incorporate the lake that I was swimming in as a kid.
Well, they got, as far as I know, there's three bits of open water. One's in front of the old, there's an old house there that they use as offices, and there was no buildings when I used to swim in there. And I remember when there was a really hot day, and my dad, as a treat, lied to my teachers at school and said that he was going to... Right.
No, he was going to take us to get shoes, school shoes.
Shoes?
And
that was an excuse to skip school? Shoes?
Yeah. He said that he was going to take us to get some school shoes.
Right.
And we didn't know this. And it was a surprise, because we used to spend, sort of loads of time at the lake. And because it was a really hot day, it was a surprise. And he bundled, because there was no seatbelt law in those days.
Yeah.
And he used to have a comma van. And he bundled 6 to 10 kids, I think, in the back of the van.
That sounds like a health and safety alert to me.
Warning!
Yeah. To swim in the lake. And I've got so many, lovely memories.
Yes, I can't imagine where that lake was. There's a small lake in front of the glass house, and there's a small to me, hang on a minute. They grow, what do you call it? What are those large floating things that grow in hot climes on the water?
Oh, what, lilies?
Lilies, yeah, lily pads. Yeah, they grow them on one of the lakes. But what you're describing, I can't imagine where that might be.
No, I can't.
But I tell you what, you must do, Barbara, because it is a delightful day out. I can't think of, apart from Kew Gardens itself, I can't think of anywhere that is a better place to while away the day.
I probably wouldn't recognise it at all.
And neither would it recognise you after all this time.
No,
You've
that's
probably
right.
changed a
But
bit.
I do have really, really good memories of Wisley.
Right.
Yeah. I just thought, whenever you talk about it, it always reminds me of, my childhood, swimming across to the island.
Yeah, and this conversation went considerably better than that time that you called me before, when I was on my worst behaviour.
No.
All right. Well, try again, and eventually you might succeed. Good work. Thanks a lot, Barbara. Joe in Surrey says, all these shenanigans between space opera Trump and... I think I've read that one. I'm getting deja vu on the word shenanigans. Mick says, Nick, that dinosaur, the Megadon... or the Magadon, actually... seems to be decoupling from reality. Yes, it is others that are running the world, and decoupled Don is doing their bidding. I think I preferred Magadon. He keeps complaining about Joe Biden not understanding what he was signing, and everything was on auto pen.
Affirmative.
Like some robot was signing the executive orders.
Correct.
But Donald Trump has no idea what's in the executive orders that he's signing. And he demonstrates that ignorance in front of the world on camera by asking people what's in the thing that I've just signed. And some gormless functionary will explain precisely what it is he just signed, and Donald Trump will hold it up like he's like he's holding up the wine list, and wants congratulations for that, because, you know, it's pretty much the only thing he does other than golf. What a way to...
In the echoes of thunder's might, illusions dance in electric light, a symphony of chaos spun in realms where realities run. Thunder crashes, worlds collide, in circuits where illusions abide. Visions flicker, virtual and tempest of senses they conceal. Thunderous illusions, relentless storm. In the labyrinth where dreams transform, a symphony of electric dreams. In the pulse of digital streams.
To run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Ipswich, Anthony.
Hi, Nick.
Anthony.
I think someone had some special spices on their chicken sandwich, and I'm not talking KFC secret recipe.
Yeah. I think they've been sprinkling some happy dust. Yeah.
Definitely happy dust. But the reason Donald Trump doesn't know what he's signing is because his primarily communication method is emojis.
And all caps with exclamation marks.
Exactly, with a face like that, it has to be emojis. That's how he recognises himself.
I'm not sure I'm following your logic there, but okay.
But anyway, the point I wanted to make was I saw the press conference where Trump gave Elon Musk his special little golden key.
Oh.
And I suspect that hidden under that key was a special little note handwritten by him that had a little sad face, a negative $sign that said, if you want to be special BFFs, this is my special number, grinny face, thumbs up.
Right. That sounds a delight, and precisely as it probably went down. All right, thanks for that, Anthony. This text says, hi, as you mentioned Pink Floyd so often, can I mention a prog rock band called 9 Stones Close? Hope you'll enjoy them, says Nick in Colnbrook. No, Nick, you most certainly can do nothing of the sort. This says, here's one for your bingo card. Donald Trump will have Elon Musk erased from official photos with him. Like Stalin did with his eventual political opponents. Yes. Huh. I bet that people are squirreling away in basements doing precisely that. Photoshopping out Elon Musk. Yeah. But you know what? The internet always remembers. As much as you try to scrub it clean, it does not forget. This says, Nick, you're not a witch, but just to make sure, can someone baptise you in the sea? It's the new right-wing grifter thing the extreme whites are pretending to do. Yeah. Can someone baptise you in the sea? It's the new right-wing grifter thing the extreme whites are pretending to do. Yeah. My thoughts entirely. And these people sort of clasp God to their chests as though God has no idea what they say or do. As though God would be transfixed by the cross hanging around their necks and not bother to investigate their character any further. Who are they kidding? Jack said, how many more of these have I got? Oh, Struth. There's loads of them. How do these people keep getting my number? So I've done the Megadon one. I've done the Floyd one. The bingo card. Yes, I'm not a witch. Right, so here we are with Jack. Jack says, have you watched Mountainhead yet? Mountainhead? No. What's that? It's about a bunch of tech bros trying to take over the US government. A brilliant satirical comedy starring Steve Carell. I think you'll love it, says Jack. You know, I think I've recorded that. Wasn't that on just recently? There was something about that rings a bell. But yeah, it's like watching Idiocracy or Don't Look Up. It's a bit too on the nose now. I mean, there used to be comedies about dystopian future, but now they're documentaries about the present. It's like, can I be bothered to sit there and watch a documentary series about how Donald Trump rose to prominence? Not really. I spend most of my day looking at pictures of blooming Donald Trump as it is. Watching TV is my relaxing time. I want to, kick off my shoes and put up my feet and look at people being killed on television. Because, like everybody else, that's how I relax. There's a thing I'm watching at the moment called You on Netflix. God, it's quite good. It's an interesting take on that kind of program. That's that sort of like Dexter and stuff like that, where the hero of the piece is really an anti-hero. But you're sort of rooting for him anyway, even though everything that he's doing is absolutely appalling. But I won't spoil it for you, but I'll just point you in that direction. And then you can take that advice with a pinch of salt that you've saved from that guy's chicken sandwich. Which didn't sound like a sandwich to me. It sounded like an excuse for a sandwich. It sounded like, I'm just too hungry. I'm just going to eat whatever is in front of me for fuel, not food. Where's the love that has gone into a chicken sandwich that's just chicken and salt, for crying out loud? I seem to have become obsessed with his dinner. Weybridge, hello, Ray.
Hello, Nick. Yeah, good evening. Or good morning, actually.
Yes, Ray.
Yes. Okay, I want to pick up on something that you said earlier. You said we don't need business people in politics.
Yeah.
And I think we want to shift that paradigm a little bit, if you allow me to just explain. The number one country bar one with the greatest GDP per capita in the world is Singapore. And the way they've done that is they've created businesses of their public assets. So what we have sold in the UK and most of the world, America and everything else, they've kept in their ownership. The state of Singapore owns all of those assets, 100% of it, but they are run by CEOs. So they are business people, but all the money goes back to the people of Singapore. So 100% of the shares is owned by the Ministry of Finance, which is why they're very, very rich. The GDP per capita is higher than the UK and USA because of that formula. So I just want to correct that because somebody might be listening.
Yeah, I think you're getting the wrong end of the stick. That's not running a country like a business. That's running businesses like a business.
No, because what would normally be on the government mandate, is the government owns this, just like what we were in the 70s, and they said we've got to privatize.
Yes.
Well, they did it differently. They did not privatize. They knew that, the water can make money, airlines can make money, telecoms can make money, but it makes money for the people. So we need business people to run them, not to privatize.
Yes, of course. Yes, but we're talking about two different things. Business people running a country is one thing. What you're describing is not that. It's people who are running a country giving the job of running a business to business people, specific businesses within the economy, not the economy as a whole. So we're talking at cross purposes. Also, I don't think that Singapore has the largest wealth per head of population. I think that's either Norway or Luxembourg. But let's not split hairs about that.
No, let's split hairs on that because we just want to educate the people. It is, I said bar one, and the bar one is Luxembourg.
Right.
And that's because they only do two. I mean, there's two factors there. They've got 650,000 people in the population, and their number one source of GDP is financial services. Yeah. It's making money out of
And
thin
you
air.
could say that what you've just described is what Norway did. We, in this country, gave up all of our North Sea oil to private enterprise and then subsidised them for the costs of decommissioning their oil rigs and so on. So, I mean, we were mugged twice over. Norway, on the other hand, they kept all their oil and put the profits into a country wealth fund, which makes them some of the richest people on earth.
And Singapore did the same. So Singapore and Norway have some of the largest wealth fund in the world.
Yeah.
And this is what, Nick, the reason why I called, because I'm on this topic. I'm a political consultant, and I'm on this topic. I am.
Does that mean unemployed? You're a political consultant?
No. I'm very much employed. Much employed. But I'm trying to teach people this is how you build a society. You don't privatize these things.
Yeah, I think it's too late.
Public assets.
Too late. Done already. There's nothing that we still own in this country that people associate with being British. Absolutely nothing
That's
whatsoever.
Right.
Apart from the royal family, and I know that many people would have their fingers in the air to object to even that. I mean, you go back far enough and it ain't British no more.
And you know what's worse, Nick? I just want to say this last word. You know what's worse? Because we privatize all the public assets, they hardly pay any corporation tax, which is why we're taxed to the hilt right now if you pay tax in the UK. Yeah. Because of all that shortfall, they export the profits and deny the corporation tax. So there's a massive hole that you and I fill every day when we turn on the tap, put on the electricity, go to the park with our children, and people don't understand what I'm trying to say. In fact, they call you they call you a socialist when you try to explain these things. Yeah. But there we are.
Well, if you, as a political consultant, are suffering from people not understanding what you're saying, then, I don't know, maybe you need to up your game or speak louder, or I don't know. But I wish you all the best. Thanks a lot, Ray. Simon in Bray says, reference your comments about watching concerts in big arenas. I'm with you. If you get a picture of a musician and a stick at the end of... and stick it at the end of your garden and listen to the music on a crappy old stereo and then charge yourself 10 quid for a bottle of water, you'll get the same experience, says Simon. Yeah, and then you could get your neighbours to come around and pee on the back of your legs to recreate that big arena experience. Yeah. John in Bristol says, the Taco Bell and Musk will soon kiss and make up. Don't worry, it's a bromance thing. If it was anybody else other than Donald Trump, then I would probably believe that. But I think that Elon Musk has gone too far now by being mean about Donald Trump. And I bet it would be the first thing that Donald Trump thinks about when he wakes up in the morning and the last thing he thinks about when he goes to bed at night. He will not be able to get that thought out of his mind until he smashes Elon Musk into the ground. It'll obsess him 24 hours a day. It'll be the only thing he thinks about from now on. I mean, there was that famous quote from Richard Branson, who said that he went to have lunch with Donald Trump once, and it was the most dispiriting business meeting he'd ever had in his life, because the only thing Donald Trump talked about was how he was going to get revenge on everybody that had slighted him. It's the only thing. I mean, if you know anything about the man, you'll know that. He lives for revenge. It's as though he's been getting back on the people that rejected him his entire life. And that's what... I mean, the only reason he's a president in the first place is because... you remember Barack Obama, don't you? That's right, him. The only reason that Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America is because Obama took the mickey out of him at that correspondence ball in America. And there was that famous cut to Donald Trump in the audience, and he wasn't sitting back in his seat. He was so furious. He was leaning forward, and you could see the steam coming out of his ears practically. And that was the reason, I believe, and many others, I'm certainly not alone, that was the reason that Donald Trump decided to become the president of the United States of America, to get back at and undo everything that Obama had ever done. And it was his first order of business on becoming the president. How can I undo everything that man just did in order to get back at him for being mean to me? I'd say that the human race we need to have a long look at ourselves. What the hell is going on this planet? We're not running it very well. Samantha says, has anyone else noticed that on Trump's Truth Social profile picture, the American flag is the wrong way? Is it? What do you mean wrong way? What, it's upside down? Wrong way? Well, I've never been on Truth Social, so I don't know, but I don't know what you mean by wrong way. The wrong way, anyway. Also, I think Melania's anti-Donald hat will very gradually get wider and cover the whole of Washington, D.C. by the end of his term. Oh, right. So, okay, I've got a picture of it now, and it's his face, that mugshot face. God, he loves that, doesn't he? Because it makes him look like a tough guy instead of the wobbling sack of orange jelly that he actually is. So he's got that in a sort of cartoon form, and somebody has overlaid the American flag on his face, but it's at 90 degrees to where it should actually be. The stripes should be going horizontal, but they're going vertical. I guess because the stripes bisect his nose. That's probably the thinking behind that. Huh. We got a cartoon character who is the leader of the free world, and a total psycho who is leading the rest of it. Andy in Horsham says, at least when the Gallagher brothers split up, it was done with a certain mank decorum and made them even more lovable. Well, I beg to differ on that score. Lovable? The Gallagher brothers? Compared to who? The Krays? Simon in... no, got that one. Chris in Oxford says, do you think the Farage rioters will be pardoned by Farage if he becomes PM? Stop saying that. People have got to stop saying that. I mean, they really do. You're making... you're sort of... What was that thing that Noel Edmonds says? You're asking it from the universe, and the universe will deliver eventually, if you're not careful.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government. 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 Fit and proper to be in government.